There we go. Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
Oh, it's been nearly almost been a year since the first time that we talked.
How's it? Great.
What was it like to come back for mine again?
Oh, it was really great. I was like really enchanted by season three. So doing yeah, I just really loved the direction the show took, and I felt like I don't know, it was like a real pleasure. It's kind of I've never been on a show that had three whole seasons, as at least I don't think so. Certainly not as a large character. Oh, besides Miraculous, I suppose. But like to be in an anime that keeps coming back for more seasons has been so awesome. So yeah, it was a pleasure, and I was really glad I was able to continue working with Crunchyroll, even though for the most part, Crunchyroll shows aren't recording in Los Angeles anymore. So
Right. Well, it sounds like, are you a fan of Bookworm then? At least by now, like personally.
yeah, mine is great. She's so smart, so precocious, and has such a good heart. And it's nice to be a part of something that's so kind, you know, in a world where, there's nothing wrong with like a show with fighting in it, but this one doesn't really have that. I mean, she gets a little pissed off sometimes, but it's like in a girl power kind of way.
Right. So has it mostly been audiobooks is the avenue that you worked the most in?
um Video games, audiobooks, live action dubbing. I've been doing anime, but honestly, it's not a choice. It's just that there's literally less jobs being offered to me at the moment. Things have kind of shifted. Yeah, I don't want to be working on anime less, but um yeah, things the winds have changed.
What were you autocast for Fire Emblem Engage, or did that was that like a normal audition?
That was an audition I booked. Yeah, very exciting.
Well, it's pretty interesting because at least just for me, some of the people that are cast, it seems like they were perfectly fit for the role. So
Oh
that's why,
yeah.
yeah, that
Yes,
just
I'm sure it's a challenge to cast because those casts are so huge and everybody has a significant role. There's really no small parts in a Fire Emblem game, a big one. Um, I haven't played it because I don't have a console. But I've been hearing people's performances, and because we have such a great director on that, and a director is so important in, bringing things to life like that, especially when you're doing a video game, because you're given very little information about what's going on in the game because they're keeping it a secret. It's up to the director to interpret for you what's going on in the game because you have no other way of knowing. And Patrick Seitz does that so beautifully so that you can give really emotional, authentic performances, even though you have no idea what the story of the game is.
what I was about to ask is what your experience was working with him and Christian.
Yeah, I wish I worked with Christian on this. Patrick directed all my sessions, although I've worked with Christian many times, and he's a favorite director of mine, to be sure. Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain, but Patrick is just he's not just saying go and telling you to do it again if it wasn't good. It's there's always a really good explanation and a guiding hand of like what you could do more while still like leaving you room to play and be a little bit like, I love the opportunities where you get to be a little bit funny in these games. And even though Ivy's so serious, they wrote comedy in there for her. She's got this like weird fear of ghosts that like really breaks her cool, and getting to be like, you always feel good when you make the director laugh, and I feel like I made Patrick laugh many times, and that gave me a lot of confidence in what we were doing.
Was it specifically for Ivy that you auditioned for? Do you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How could you relate to her character the most?
Well, Ivy is very buttoned up. I think I have a little bit of that in me. I'm certainly not like, I'm not a Tamara, right? Like, I'm not loose and free and anything goes. I like to have a plan, and I like to feel like I'm in control at all times. And I like things to be like, you know, comfortable and on purpose. So in that way, I guess I do relate to Ivy quite a bit. I'm certainly not as formal as she is. I'm, you know, I like to make jokes a lot more than she does. And I'm very comfortable with, you know, she's like, I couldn't possibly like even say something chill to you, much just hug you. And that's not me. I'm a very emotionally open person. I'll tell everybody I meet the first time I meet them, like all my deepest, darkest secrets. But I relate to the need for control.
Mm-hmm. What about the biggest differences between you and her then?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is I'm not religious. She's very religious, not worried about ghosts, very comfortable camping. Really like camping. She doesn't like it so much. I don't know. I'm going to leave it at that, I guess.
What about in terms of developing her voice?
Well, I think that because she's royal, and you sort of figure anybody who was raised as a princess was raised with a really strict teacher who demanded that their elocution be impeccable, and they're learning to speak to important people from a very young age. So you just sort of imbue that. It's like a formality that you can't shake. Every word is completely pronounced. Contractions aren't really a thing. And no matter what, with few exceptions, you're always trying to seem as if you're in control of the situation. And that also lends itself to the lower voice. Like, I need to seem in control, therefore I have a lower voice. That all informed it. There were also some archetypes they gave for the character that I don't know that I'm at the liberty to share, because they kind of said, like, don't talk about how the sausage is made, because we want to keep the magic alive for everybody. So I had some archetypes that I was also going off of that have that same vibe, that sort of, I am always in control. Nothing ruffles my feathers. And I am of a very high class.
Was there any basis off the Japanese performance?
Gosh, it's funny. I can't remember if we listened to the J or not when we were recording. I feel like we probably must have for timing, at least sometimes, but not too much. It was when I auditioned, I didn't audition to match the J. I auditioned with sort of the Americanized version that I created. So it wasn't as much as some anime, you're really trying to match it as best you can, but I feel like not in this one as much.
Okay. Well, it is very interesting because when people were trying to guess who the English cast was, nobody thought that vocal archetype was you.
Yeah. Well, I play a lot of really high voice characters. So, but that's something I'm very proud of about my voice, is that it has quite a big range. I can hit both ends of the spectrum. So I think my lower voice is something that a lot of people aren't as familiar with. And I think I did see like some people thinking it was Jeremy,
Yeah.
And that's very typical. We often get mistaken for each other. We
Okay.
must sound somewhat similar. We certainly look similar. If you put us next to each other in a room, you know what, come to think of it, even sometimes people, when they meet me, they're like, Jeremy, right? And I'm like, no, but she's the same height as me. She has brown hair, round face. Like we're pretty similar, and we're friends. So
What did you think about when you saw Ivy's design for the first time?
oh, I mean, I thought she was super hot. Yeah, they showed it to me, before I started recording, so I had a sense of like who I was giving life to, and so it could inform my work. And yeah, I mean, she looks very dark and like she might be a bad guy, but she's not. She's so good. And that was super helpful to like once again, always keeping your emotions inside, but actually really wanting to make a connection with people and playing with the struggle between those two things. I'm afraid to be hurt. I'm afraid to be seen as vulnerable or weak, but I desperately want to make friends with all these people and feel like I'm part of a community.
I think that's definitely one thing that has made her be one of the most popular female characters, is that she's like initially a villain character.
Right. It's like, you come from the bad place, you must be bad.
Right.
I'm not.
What are your favorite interactions with other characters that she has?
It's been a while since I did it, so remembering individual things is hard. I have seen people replaying, like I've seen videos of it online, and the one I can think of is I'm out camping with somebody talking about how I'm like barely holding it together because I'm so afraid of the ghosts out there, which was certainly a fun one to record. I really liked recording all of the evil stuff because it's like the funnest thing ever as a voice actor to record evil stuff. Yeah, like I said, I can't really, I don't remember the individual things very well.
I think in terms of Ivy, the specific support that people are latching onto the most is with Tamara, where she's singing.
Okay, maybe I've seen it, but maybe I should watch it. I'm sure it's on YouTube now. I'll go find it.
Yeah. And then it was with the one about ghosts was with Melissa Hutchison's character.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah. And there's one that she has with Zelkov, who is the guy that is all dark and shrouded, and he's talking. It's this big scientific build-up about that he made her cough medicine. And she's like, what is this? Like, what are you trying to say? Just say what this is. He's like, it's cough medicine, or like something like that.
Mm. Oh, the other one I've seen is with Alir, and they're like, why are you, do you hate me? You're so mean. And then I'm like, I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. That was funny too. But I'll go find the Tamara one. I didn't get to hear her singing when I was recording, so now I'll get to hear it.
Well, that was one question I think a lot of people were curious on, is that well, it was more of a comment that they could tell that whoever voices Ivy is obviously a trained singer, but they're like having to sing badly intentionally for recording.
Is that right? Yeah, I am a trained singer. Oh, is it something like I'm in the woods and I'm singing and yep. Okay. Yep. Yeah. It's sort of like the memories kind of coming back now.
Well, did you have any specific lines or things you did to get into her headspace before each recording?
There is a character from media that I am thinking of when I do it, which is a really great way in general to do a voice, because even if you can't actually do an impression of them, doing a bad impression of someone is a brand new character voice for you. So that's always a great way to make up a new voice. So I think of that character from media, and then my version of it is unique, but also always anchored to that person.
Mm-hmm. Are you friends with a lot of people in the cast?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I love my LA voice actor community. There's certainly a lot of people in this cast that I don't know. And I think partly that's because I sort of stopped being able to make new friends in the past 3 years because of the pandemic. Like before I would meet people in the studio or at mixers and things like that. And so anybody who's sort of entered the sphere in the last couple of years, I haven't gotten to meet yet. And I'm really hoping that changes. And then I'm imagining that some of them are also remotely working and not located in Los Angeles. But certainly a ton of the people in the cast I am good friends with.
Yeah, well, almost I think half of the new characters in Engage are people that are located in Texas.
Is that right? That's why I don't know them then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I can't meet them at a party. I wish I could.
Are you planning on playing the game, like buying the game?
No, because you have to get a Switch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always feel bad when I'm interviewing with people about my characters in games and admitting I don't play it because I don't have the consoles, nor do I want to buy the console. But I'm perfectly happy to watch other people play it online so I can see the work and stuff. But I've already got an addiction, and that addiction is social media.
Okay.
Like that already takes up too much of my time. And like if I have a video game addiction too, then I'll truly never get anything done. Yeah.
Well, you've watched a good amount of anime that you're also in, haven't you?
Yeah, but I also if I'm a big part in the anime, I don't need to watch it because I've already seen it.
Right.
But if I'm in the show and a smaller part and I'm really curious what happened, then yes, I watch the show. I don't actually watch a lot of anime that I'm not in. Once again, it's just I don't know. It feels like a dig, but it's not a dig. It's just my TV preferences lie elsewhere for my personal TV. I love working on it.
Do you think that now that Ivy is one of the characters that you relate the most to out of your other like big anime game characters?
Oh, totally. First of all, she's a grown up and obviously they don't live in the real world, but the world is relatable. People behave in a relatable way in this world. So I'm really glad to be associated with her and would love to continue playing her in any way. I super relate to her. Yes.
Was there when you did come back, or when you did do the recording for her, was there any memory of the other characters that you played in Fire Emblem? Because last time we talked, you said you didn't really have much of a connection to Jill or Florina.
That's true. It's true. They were really short sessions.
Right.
So if I would have to have some more sessions as either of them to build a personal relationship with them, because I just can't remember what we did. Mm-hmm. All I know is that Jill rides wyverns, has wyverns. And that's the only detail I can remember. Yeah. It was so long. When was it? Like, I don't even know. God, it was like 5 or 6 years ago, at least.
I think not. It was like, I think it was during the pandemic.
Was it? I was in studio. It must have been right before the pandemic.
Yeah, like
Yep.
2019 or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
What would you hope to see for Ivy's character?
Ooh. I mean, I think seeing her rise to power and create the Illusia that she wants to live in, which is one that has great relationships with all the other kingdoms and is not associated with the Fell Dragon. And like even though she's got kind of goth style and that can stay the same, she wants to live in a world where people have love and connections and stuff. She doesn't want to live in this like world ruled by a tyrant who's out of touch with reality and, you know, cutting themselves off from the rest of the world.
I think the contrast between her and her sister are really interesting too, just from like a physical standpoint, even.
Yeah. Am I right in thinking though that they're not like full sisters? Like,
Yeah.
Isn't Hortensia the daughter of a, what's the word? Mistress?
Right.
And, you know, lived a very different childhood in a lot of ways. And it's very beautiful how much she cares for her, you know, because it could easily go the other way, right? And she could be super resentful of her. But it just goes to show like what a good person she is.
Is there any memory of the romantic supports like that she gets at the end, like with the main character earlier?
Yeah. There's some memory. If I recall, it doesn't get too explicit though, right? Isn't it kind of just like, I'm devoted to you and we're gonna, you know, be together forever and have tea.
Right.
Yeah. Like, and then you can fill in the rest of the blanks with your imagination. Yeah, I do remember that for sure.
I think one reason too why people were so excited about Engage is the really heavy same-sex options that it has too with the romance.
Yeah. This we're entering a new generation where people want, there's just so many more people who want to see themselves reflected or even see their friends reflected in their media. If they are heterosexual, they have so many friends who are you know, gay or non-binary or trans or pansexual, all these things. I mean, when I it's really amazing as a 35-year-old woman when I, you know, end up on a Zoom somehow with high school students. They've all got their pronouns listed in the Zoom boxes, and there's a wide variety of pronouns, which is insane because when I was in high school, you couldn't even come out of the closet without, and you know, say you were gay without, you know, your life being ruined.
Right.
So now things are changing. That's really cool and really wild. And God, it's been 20 years since I was in high school. My God. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's because I've talked to a few people in the cast already, and I know Cup of Tea always makes sure to cast, you know, people that are actually of a certain color if they're playing that character, or if they're like people of a certain sexuality and they're playing that character.
Definitely. And in the whole voiceover industry, we are done with casting white people to play people with brown skin. Mm-hmm. It's not appropriate, and we're not doing it anymore. So when I get an audition and I see that the character is drawn to be Black or Middle Eastern or Hispanic, I do not audition for that character. And I also know that they aren't considering white people for that character, because we need, you know, authentic representation in those things. And of course, also to have people of color be able to play any role if they're right for the role, regardless of the color of the character's skin. With sexuality, I think I have not witnessed quite as much adherence and matching, but then again, it's not as often that I am aware of a character's sexuality in, you know, that it's spoken about explicitly, like in Fire Emblem. You know, they're giving you two options for a leer, and they're giving you, for a lot of the characters, multiple options for their partners. So it's not that, you know, Ivy is gay or, you know, anything else on the LGBTQIA spectrum. You can partner her with a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
But yes, I would think Cup of Tea would definitely be at the forefront of doing that kind of work, because they're a really great studio.
Well, even in general too, ever since anime is more of a mainstream thing, it's always been, I don't know, more of a safe space for people that don't identify as straight to, you know.
Yes, I kind of wonder what the correlation between those things is, because I have noticed that ever since I started working in this industry. Anime is a safe space for all sorts of people that feel marginalized in other spaces. I don't know why. It's great, but I'm curious why. I would love to hear somebody's like, you know, pitch or essay on that, you know?
Well, personally, for me, I can say I think it's just always been the fact that anime has always tackled things that Western animation doesn't or didn't used to.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So they were addressing subjects and subject matter that you were dying to see in other media because it would make you feel seen, make you feel like part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And that's where it was happening. That's cool.
Well, I'm not sure if you were aware, but that was one of the whole reasons why Sailor Moon got redubbed, was because of the censorship for some of the gay characters when it was aired 20 years ago in America for the first time.
No, I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
So Sailor Moon in the original Japanese had characters that were meant to be gay. And then when they dubbed it for the American audience, they removed that back in the day.
Yeah, the first time that it got dubbed, two of the characters, Uranus and Neptune, they're canonically lesbians, but in the first dub, they were related.
Yeah, that sounds like us. That sounds like America back in the early 2000s or late 90s or whatever. Cool. And then they redubbed it and fixed it.
Yep, and it's Uranus is Erica Mendez, and then Neptune is Lauren Landa.
Okay.
Sure, you know.
I certainly knew that a lot of my friends were in that more recent dub.
Yep.
But I didn't know that was a change, or that it was even part of the story.
Yeah.
Neat. Thanks for educating me. I do need that. I need more education.
Well, one thing I was curious on too was because I thought that the last time we talked that your breakdown of doing boy voices was so interesting. Have you gotten to do more boy voices significantly at all since between the last year?
Oh, the last one I can remember doing is Castor in Record of Ragnarok.
Okay.
Which is, I think Hercules is like little best friend.
Yeah.
So I got to do several episodes as I think he starts out maybe about 8 years old and then goes up to like 15. So yes, I got to do boy voice in that. Nothing else is popping to mind right now for in the past year.
That was really cool too, because you got to because young Hercules was played by Yuri Lowenthal, so you guys got to have both of that.
Yeah, I wish I got to see Yuri, but I did not.
Right. Well, is there anything else that's upcoming or part of you can safely talk about?
Recording more Miraculous. I think we're on season 5 now. Usually the answer is going to always be no if it's not out yet. Oh, there's this show on YouTube called Hello Neighbor that's based on a video game called Hello Neighbor. And myself and Kimberly Woods and Armin Taylor are all in it, who are all friends of mine. Kimberly's like the lead, which is awesome. It's rolling out very slowly on YouTube. So only 2 episodes are out so far, but it's a fun 2D show, and it's got like millions of views. So people should check that out too. And I'm a character in it that hasn't really shown up yet too much, but will further down the line.
Okay. Well, is there anything that you want to say to the Fire Emblem community?
Yeah, I really love these Fire Emblem games and how they bring people together so much. I've been on stalking the Fire Emblem Engage and regular Fire Emblem subreddits a lot, and people there are just so kind to each other and excited to just dig into these stories and these communities of characters. So I'm just really honored to join the community in a more significant way, because I think y'all are cool.
Well, thank you. Glad that we got to do this again.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect timing, because I have to get going. But yeah, thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, have a good rest of your day then.
I will. Bye-bye.